Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey everybody, got an interesting question here. Comes from, who does it come from? From Aaron. Oh, it's another Aaron. Aaron writes, hey asshole, I'm sure you've heard of Stefan Molyneux or people like him. The serious issue with a democracy or republic is that it eventually becomes mob rule, and that the average person who isn't too bright really shouldn't be making decisions anyway. My email is asking this: if you could have an e-verify system with certain voting requirements for the U.S., what would they be and why? Mine are below, just to give you some sort of idea of framework. Feel free to read them, agree with them, shit on them, and others, or add others, etc. One must be 25 years old, ensures that the voter has at least gone through college or hopefully had a real job. Yeah, dude, college is turning out, I trust people who don't go to college more than I do people who do. And shit, that doesn't mean they graduate. I mean, college is becoming a brainwashing institution. It does not educate and produce truly independent-minded people, let alone those that appreciate Western civilization, freedom, and more importantly, know the importance of responsibility. They're all about rights, and they think that free food and free healthcare is a right. Right there, it shows you how delusional. No, you have a right for things not to happen to you, or at least the government tries to make sure you know. Like, you have the right to speak your mind and not go to jail. Yeah, I would not make. I have different reasons for an age requirement, which I'll get to later. But yeah, just because you went to college, I mean, I like it when you're older, you're more mature. You're wiser, but college just makes people stupid nowadays. Having a job doesn't. I mean, two, must not be on any kind of welfare. If they are, they must prove they are paying out more than they are taking in. This proves that the voter is not a leech on society. But by default, if they're taking welfare, they are a leech. That's by math. If they didn't take welfare, then they wouldn't be a leech. If they didn't need government assistance, then they wouldn't be a leech. But in the fact they do collect a welfare check, by default, they are taking other people's money that isn't theirs. 3, must have at least one child, proves the voter cares about the future of the nation. No, not necessarily. I mean, what you adopt, that's dumb. That's dumb right there. Because the dumbest people have children more than they can afford. I mean, read it this way: must have had at least unprotected sex once. Proves the voter cares about the future of the nation. No, there's too many stupid people having children and illegitimate children as well. So that I would not would not there. Voter would have to fulfill all 3 requirements the year prior to an election, be able to vote. For example, these would have to be met in 2015 to vote for Trump in November 2016. I would say the past trailing 12 months. I know what you're saying there. Yeah, there should be like, if all of a sudden you lived the majority of the year and then you fell on hard times, then you had to collect welfare for 2 weeks. Okay, so we'd have to put some kind of requirements on it, like 90% or 95% of the year you couldn't have been collecting a government check or whatever. But I understand. Yeah, there should be some kind of time thing there. I also feel that if someone is serving in the military as an actual combat grunt, they should be granted a vote for life or a certain period after service. If someone is willing to risk their life for the nation, they are making a great sacrifice for the nation and have proven themselves to care about it. Yeah, no, the military, you'd waive the age requirement there. Again, feel free to add on any requirements or disagree with that. Well, I have thought about this, and my voting requirements kind of parallel along the olden days where it's like you had to have owned property, or you had to pay a poll tax or something like that. And the reason why, aside from, you can't vote if you're black or female because you're slaves and sexism, but the property ownership one, I kind of like that, and the reason they had it is like, look, you have to own a piece of the country and actually have vested interest in the country. And on top of it, if you own property, you're not terribly stupid. You must have done something right. So it's kind of like this screening measure. So here are mine, but going back to the problem is that's not precise enough. You can have idiots inherit their property; they didn't work for it, it's not fair. It's not meritocratic. And what I aim for is meritocratic, based on merit. You get to vote based on merit, that you've earned it, and that you're smart enough. So the first thing, you have to have an IQ above 90. I'd be mandatory, like you're testing IQs we're not having stupid people and retards vote. If you're just not that smart, if you can't do basic math, if you're incapable of delayed gratification or long-term thinking, you don't get to vote. And that's not to say if you have an IQ of 90, you're not capable of math, but I'm sorry, I just want the dumb people not voting. So we get, this isn't this is to say, I mean, there's a lot of very intelligent liberals. I mean, this isn't to scam the liberal. This is to get people who lack the intellectual capacity to lead their own lives, to have a say in leading the nation. So that's one. You must be 30. I know, no, 25 is not old enough, especially with these millennial cunts coming out of college thinking they're all smart with their masters and $250,000 in debt and bitching and whining and asking all of us to pay for more shit. No, fuck no. You need to be 30. And the only other way you get out of that is if you're in the military. I want to do the combat military. If you're in the military, you're in the military, you can vote. I'm not going to fight, well, were you in combat? No, if you're in the military, you get to vote regardless. And you get to drink and you get to smoke. That's what I would say. I agree with you, cannot be collecting a welfare or government check of any kind, and that includes TANF, WIC, EBT, any state, and even any municipal program. If you get any check, any subsidy, any aid from the public sector, I don't care what government it comes from, you don't get to vote. Okay, you are a parasite. You don't get to say you have a conflict of interest to simply enslave other people to pay you. Also along the same, you have had to pay taxes that previous year. You have had to have paid taxes, right? Not a lot, okay? You just had to fill out your taxes and do it, and you had to pay, okay? Now, well, I made $0. No, you have had to pay in. You want to play? You got to pay. And then also I would ban any government employees, bar the military, the FBI, CIA. Some people are actually putting their lives at risk. Any government employee, you could be the dog catcher. You could be a politician. University professors at public universities. You don't get it. No. People who work at Solyndra. No. They're bankrupt. Anyone that is part of a government organization, if you get any of your payment, like now military contractors, I would say no. You would still get to, building the roads, obviously. But if you work for the government, you're part of AFSCME, no, you don't get to vote. And that's basically it. Basically, my goal is to have responsible, wise, educated, not even necessarily educated, but experienced people, independent people, financially responsible people who are not parasites, and also people who do not have a conflict of interest to vote. And then you get the best. I can't guarantee you get the best government, but you get a hell of a lot better government than we have now. Of course, this is all pie in the sky poppycock. We have let way too many people have the right to vote. Also, I completely disagree going back, 13th, 14th Amendment, how we let people based on their race or their gender vote, and follow me through on this. I'm not saying minorities and women should have a right to vote, but I don't understand why was it, well, I know why, because of slavery, but why do we have to say, now we're going to let women vote, and now we're going to let minorities vote, and now we're going to let this group of people vote? No. That's not American, or at least ideally American. What would ideally be American is, what is your performance? Who are you as a person? Judge you by the content of your character and not the color of your skin. So I'd almost would go back and revoke I don't know if there'd be a legal reason to do it, but was it the 14th Amendment? Whatever the other amendment was that gave women the right. I'd be getting rid of that. I say, here are the new standards. It doesn't matter what your plumbing is downstairs or the color of your skin. You must meet these aracial and asexual and aethical. It has nothing to do with how you were born. You must meet these qualifications and characteristics before you can vote. And I would seriously put a ton of money. I would have a bureaucracy or bureau put in charge of making sure that the people who have the right to vote, not that they do vote, but making sure that people who don't have the right to vote don't vote. But this is all pie in the sky poppycock. We've let way too many idiots have the right to vote. In Minnesota, you don't even need an ID to vote. I mean, which is why I wrote the book Enjoy the Decline. We don't care about the United States as a country. We don't even love ourselves enough or respect this country in terms of a sovereign nation, its sovereignty, to the point we'll just let anyone vote. And that's Minnesota liberals and leftists. I'm sorry, ladies, disproportionately you voting for these Democrats and these leftists that resulted in that. So, if you want a really good post I wrote about how women just totally screwed the pooch and pissed all over the thousands of years of Western civilization advancement by voting in more of the state. Look at, do Western women deserve the protection of Western men? It's a great post. But anyway, so yeah, that was a cute little theoretical talk, and enjoy the decline. Toodles.